Saturday morning, 1956. A kitchen in Levittown, linoleum still cool from the night, the percolator already going, Folgers in the red can, his Florsheim shoes by the back door, garden mud dried on the soles, her housecoat buttoned to the collar, hair in pin curls. They had not spoken yet. They did not need to. They had a deal. 14 rules that governed every marriage in mid-century America. Not written, not negotiated, not once spoken aloud. Every one of them has vanished. Number 14. He handed over the paycheck. She ran the money. On Friday afternoon, he came home and gave her the entire paycheck. She decided where every dollar went. Not a check for most working families until the late 1950s. Actual cash in a small manila envelope. She sat at the kitchen table after supper with a set of labeled envelopes. Rent, groceries, electric, insurance, gas. She divided it by hand. The Montgomery Ward catalog opened beside her if something was needed for the house. A dime store ledger from Woolworth's, 15 cents, where she recorded every penny in pencil. He did not ask how she spent it. She did not ask permission. Today, 78% of Americans say money is their #1 source of relationship stress. In 1954, it was not a conversation. It was a system. He earned the money. She made it work. And the family that held together on $4,200 a year did so because the woman at that kitchen table could stretch a dollar until it screamed. That was not budgeting. That was architecture. Number 13. She never sat down to eat until everyone else was served. The wife served every plate. She ate last, if she ate at all at the same sitting. Corelle dishes or Melmac in turquoise and pink. A pot roast on a Pyrex platter, carrots and potatoes circling the edge. She filled his plate first, then the children's, then set them down with the good Oneida flatware. She brought the rolls, the butter dish, the glass of milk. Then she stood at the counter for a moment, wiping her hands on her apron. Cotton print from Sears, 89 cents on the bolt. She sat down to a plate that was already cooling. He never noticed. The children never noticed. She never expected them to. She fed her family the way she loved them. First, completely and without waiting to be thanked. That chair sat empty until the world was fed. And she filled it last like it was the most natural thing on earth. Number 12. He never complained about a meal. She never served one she had not tested. He ate what was put in front of him. She made sure it was worth eating. The Betty Crocker Picture Cookbook with the red and white gingham cover, 1950 edition. The tuna noodle casserole with crushed Lay's potato chips on top. The meatloaf with a stripe of Hunt's ketchup baked into a glaze. She tested a new recipe on a Tuesday when nothing was at stake. If it failed, she never made it again. Nobody ever knew it existed. A Jell-O mold with fruit cocktail suspended inside. Del Monte in heavy syrup. He sat down, picked up his fork, and said 2 words, "Smells good." That sentence was the entire review. That sentence was enough. Complaining about the food was complaining about her. So he never did. Cooking something careless was disrespecting his labor. So she never did. The silence at that table was not emptiness. It was mutual respect with its mouth full. Number 11. She kept his secrets from her family. He kept hers from his. What happened inside the marriage did not leave the house. Not to her mother, not to his brother, not to anyone. A fight at 11 o'clock at night. Voices kept low so the children would not hear through the plaster walls. The next morning, Sunday dinner at her mother's house. Her in a fresh dress with her good brooch. Him in a pressed shirt, both of them smiling over a plate of pot roast like nothing had happened. Her mother searching her eyes across the table, finding nothing. Today, the average person shares personal relationship details with 5 to 7 people outside the marriage. In the 1950s, that number was 0. They did not air grievances because they understood something that has since been forgotten. The moment you let someone else into your marriage, you hand them a chisel and point them at the foundation. They protected each other from the outside world, even when the outside world was family, especially then. Those first 4 rules governed the ordinary days, the meals, the money, the Monday through Saturday machinery of staying together. But the deeper terms of the deal were about something harder to name. They were about territory. Number 10. The kitchen was hers. The garage was his. Nobody crossed. Each spouse had sovereign domain. She did not rearrange his workbench. He did not reorganize her cabinets. His side. A Craftsman tool chest from Sears, $22 on the installment plan. A pegboard with the outline of every wrench drawn in pencil so he knew if one was missing. A can of 3-in-1 oil. The smell of sawdust and cold concrete. Her side. The Youngstown steel kitchen cabinets, white with chrome handles. The flour canister, the sugar canister, the coffee canister in matching tin. Her spice rack from a S&H Green Stamps catalog. Her system for where the canned goods went. He would not have known where to find the nutmeg if his life depended on it. And he never tried. Respect did not always look like conversation. Sometimes it looked like a man who never once opened the drawer where she kept the good scissors. The territory was small, but it was theirs, and they defended it without a word. Number 9. He drove. She did not question the route. When the family went anywhere, he drove, and he chose the road. A 1955 Ford Fairlane or a Chevrolet Bel Air. A Rand McNally Road Atlas in the glove box. No air conditioning. Windows down on the turnpike. The smell of hot vinyl and juicy fruit gum. She sat passenger side with a child on her lap before seatbelt laws existed. He pulled into a Texaco station for gas, 27 cents a gallon, and she took the children to the restroom without being asked. He never asked for directions. She never offered them. If they were lost together. And she had the decency to let him figure it out without an audience. She did not ride in silence because she was powerless. She rode in silence because she understood that a man who cannot steer his own car cannot steer anything. She gave him the wheel, and he never once drove them off a cliff. Number 8. She set the social calendar. He showed up. She decided who they saw, when, and for how long. He put on a clean shirt and went. A wall calendar from the insurance agent hung by a nail next to the kitchen phone. The Petersons for Saturday supper. Bridge club on Thursday. Her sister's birthday on the 15th. Church potluck the last Sunday of the month. She signed them up for her scalloped potatoes every single time. He found out about the plans when she told him to be home by 5:30. He did not argue. He did not negotiate. He put on his good tie, the one she had picked out at J.C. Penney. He stood at the front door with his hat in his hand at 5:25. She managed the social life because she understood that a family without community is a family without a net. He showed up because he understood that the deal meant trusting her judgment on the things she could see better than he could. And she could always see people better than he could. 8 rules deep, and a pattern is already visible. The deal was not about control. It was about jurisdiction. He had his, she had hers. Neither of them had to do everything. Neither of them had to be everything. They were not partners in the way we use that word now, two people negotiating every task from scratch every single day. They were specialists, and the household they built ran like a Swiss watch because each of them knew their post and never abandoned it. Number 7. He fixed what broke. She decided when to replace it. If the screen door sagged, he repaired it. If the toaster finally died, she chose the new one. A Saturday afternoon, the bathroom faucet dripping for a week. He pulled out the Craftsman wrench set and shut off the water valve, replaced the washer himself. A 10-cent rubber disc from the hardware store on Elm Street. No plumber, no phone call. His hands black with pipe grease, the faint smell of plumber's putty. But when the Sunbeam Mixmaster burned out after 9 years of service, she went to the Sears catalog, compared 3 models, placed the order with her Christmas club money. He did not ask what it cost. She did not ask for permission. Today, the average American household spends over $12,000 a year on services their grandparents did with their own hands. He kept the house standing. She kept it livable. And the line between the two was drawn so clearly that neither of them ever stepped over it by accident. Number 6. She ironed his shirts without being asked. He noticed without saying so. His shirts were pressed and hanging in the closet every week. He wore them without comment. But he knew. A GE steam iron, $8.95. The ironing board set up in the kitchen or the back bedroom. A sprinkle bottle made from an old Coca-Cola bottle with a cork stopper and a metal sprinkler head. 10 cents at the 5 and dime. The hiss of steam on damp cotton. The starch smell from a can of Niagara starch from the box or glass bottle. She pressed the collar first, then the yoke, then each sleeve, then the body panels. 7 minutes per shirt, 5 shirts a week, 52 weeks a year, 1,820 shirts across a decade. And not once did either of them call it love, but it was. It was love in its most ordinary and permanent form. Repetition without resentment, service without scorekeeping, the kind that does not announce itself because it does not need to. Number 5. He took discipline. She took comfort. When a child needed correcting, the father handled it. When a child needed holding, the mother was already there. A boy caught lying about a broken window. The mother's face tight, her lips pressed shut. Wait until your father gets home. The sound of the Buick pulling into the driveway at 5:15. The father's voice behind the bedroom door. Low, firm, brief. No shouting. A belt across the back of a chair has emphasis, not always used. Then the boy sitting on the edge of his bed, red-faced. The mother appearing with a glass of milk and a hand on the back of his neck. She did not undermine the punishment. She did not override it. She simply arrived afterward the way weather arrives after a storm. They divided the hardest job in the world without discussing it. He was the wall. She was the door. And a child who grew up between them understood something about structure and tenderness that no parenting book has ever improved upon. Those roles, the iron, the discipline, the calendar, the car, they sound rigid from the outside, but the people who lived inside them will tell you something different. The deal was not a cage. It was a floor, and what was built on that floor is what nobody talks about anymore. Number 4. She made the house ready before he came home, every single day. By 5 o'clock, the house was clean, the children were presentable, and she had changed out of her house dress. Toys picked up off the living room rug. The Hoover run over the carpet one last time. The cushions on the Davenport straightened, the floor wax smell still hanging in the air. Clean, slightly sharp. the children's faces wiped, their shirts tucked. And her. The house dress swapped for a blouse and a skirt. A fresh coat of lipstick, Revlon's Love That Red. Her hair combed, not because she had to look beautiful, because when that front door opened, the first thing he saw was supposed to tell him that this house had not fallen apart while he was gone. Today, 32% of American homes are described by their occupants as cluttered or disorganized. In 1955, that was not a possibility. It was a disgrace. She gave him that order every single day. 365 days a year for decades. She was not performing for him. She was keeping a promise. The deal said, you go out and face the world. When you come back, the world you come back to will be standing. She kept that promise until her hands gave out, and some of them kept it even after that. Number 3. He never told her what happened at work. She never asked. He came home, hung up his hat, and sat in his chair. What happened between 8 and 5 stayed there. The lazy boy recliner or the one good armchair by the Philco television set. His shoes off. The evening paper unfolded. The local daily, 5 cents. The smell of newsprint and his aftershave, Aqua Velva or Old Spice, fading by the end of the day. She brought him coffee, or, on a Friday, a Pabst Blue Ribbon from the icebox. She did not ask about the foreman. She did not ask about the layoff rumors. She did not ask why his jaw was tight. She waited. If he wanted to talk, he talked. If he did not, she let the silence do its work. Today, the average American checks their phone 144 times a day. In 1954, a man came home to a quiet room and a woman who knew that quiet was not emptiness. She understood that the man who walked through that door had spent 8 hours carrying something she could not see. The greatest kindness she could offer was not to make him describe the weight. She gave him the chair and the quiet. And most nights, that was enough to put him back together. Number 2. Neither of them said, "I love you." They said it other ways. The phrase was almost never spoken. Not at breakfast, not at bedtime, not on the phone. She said it by leaving his lunch pail on the counter at 5:30 in the morning. A sandwich wrapped in waxed paper, an apple, a thermos of coffee. He said it by checking the oil in her car every Saturday without being asked. The hood of the station wagon propped open, a rag hanging from his back pocket. She said it by laying out his church clothes on Sunday morning. He said it by never missing a single one of their daughter's school plays. Sitting in a folding chair in the gymnasium in his work pants, because he came straight from the plant. Nobody said the words. The words were unnecessary. The evidence was everywhere. They belonged to a generation that believed love was not a feeling you reported. It was a thing you proved daily, without commentary, without applause, and the proof outlasted every word ever spoken. Because it was built into the ordinary machinery of their days. And it never once stopped running. 14 terms, not one of them romantic in the way we use that word now. No candlelight, no grand gestures, no declarations, just two people who got up every morning and did what the deal required, without negotiation, without therapy, without a single self-help book telling them what they already knew. The deal was not glamorous, it was functional, and it produced something that 40 years of modern relationship advice has not been able to replicate. Marriages that lasted, households that held, children who knew exactly where they stood. Number 1. The deal ended when one of them died, and the survivor kept it anyway. When he died, she still sat 2 places at the table. When she died, his shirts were still pressed and hanging in the closet. A widow in 1974, still rising at 5:30, still making the coffee in the same aluminum percolator, still ironing on Tuesday, still keeping the household ledger even though there was only one column now. His chair in the same spot. His tools still on the pegboard in the garage, each one inside its pencil outline. She still kept the house ready by 5 o'clock. Not for him, for the promise. A widower who kept her garden alive for 11 years after she was gone, watering the roses she had planted, the roses he had never once asked about, with the hose she had picked out from the Sears catalog in 1961. Not because he cared about roses, because she had. The deal did not require a living partner. It only required a person who had made a vow so deep it became the architecture of their days. And when the other half was gone, the architecture did not collapse. It held, because the person still inside it refused to leave. The deal had no name, no contract, no witnesses. Two people stood in a kitchen in 1953 and began a partnership that neither of them would ever describe out loud. And the reason it worked is the reason it disappeared. It required two people who believed that some things are too important to talk about. And they were right. And if you want more forgotten wisdom from the generations who came before us, the next video is waiting for you right now.